This is a new thing we're doing, and we're recording this really fast because we're all going to watch a movie together. I'm here with Bubs and Sango, and we're going to watch Pink Flamingos, and she's never seen it before. This is going to be a magical night, y'all. So, we only watched about 2 seconds of the movie, and before Bubs, I got in touch with him, and I was like, hey, Sango's never seen this movie. You want to watch it with us? And he was like, fuck yeah. So, if you've never seen Pink Flamingos, you should absolutely see it, because it's magical. Now, like I said, we only watched about 4 seconds of this movie so far, and what was your impression?
Do I have to say it?
Oh, do you want me to say it? I'll do it. We watched, it was only the credit sequence, and it's the way they show the double wide, and she's like, this movie's cute so far, and the only thing I could think is, oh, honey, it's about to get weird. So we're gonna go watch the movie.
You?
Yeah. We're gonna go watch the movie, and shit's gonna get weird, and then we're gonna come back and talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but in the beginning, it's like the term, the title popped up, it says Pink Flamingos, and I saw the flamingo, and I'm like, oh, that looks cute so far.
It's going to do a 180 real fast.
Oh, yeah.
I'm such an innocent.
So we're going to stop recording this now so we can go watch the movie, and when we come back, it's going to be like, holy shit. Welcome back, everyone. We just watched a movie. Sango's a little broken right now. She wasn't prepared for this movie.
My mind's gone. It's not innocent anymore.
Okay.
Me and Moonhorse seen this movie many times.
Oh, it's a classic. It's a classic filth movie. So
you have to see it once.
Yes, absolutely. It's like required viewing. So, in light of that, let's start from the beginning and work our way through it, shall we? Which means, yes, we are going to have to relive it. So, oh. She may not be totally on board for this, you guys. So, we watched Pink Flamingos, as requested, and as mentioned, two of us have seen this movie over and over and over. It's a classic.
Spirit animal.
Yeah, just a little side note here, you guys, a technical note. The audio might be cutting in and out because my internet sucks, but we're doing our best. So the movie opens, of course, with the story of the filthiest people alive and their wonderful pink trailer and the place where they live with Divine, the filthiest woman alive, and Edith the Egg Lady, and Cotton, and Crackers, the chicken fucker, and
he lives out in the chicken coop.
Of course he does. Where else would he live? So they are in a very big competition with some people who think they're the filthiest people alive. The Marbles. Fucking assholes.
Connie and Raymond Marble.
Yes, John Waters does the narration of this movie because the person who was supposed to narrate it backed out at the last minute, so instead of just doing the narration, he does an impersonation of the one who was supposed to narrate it throughout the entire movie. So essentially, he's a narrator, but he's the angriest narrator ever. He's constantly spitting dialogue like he hates his job.
With this really thick and strong Baltimore accent.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's fucking fantastic. And it's like, these fucking assholes.
Yes, not ass, it's ass.
Yeah, you gotta really draw it out. So this movie was, was 1975?
72.
72, alright, yeah. So it's a classic. It's a wonderful movie, so we decided to watch it. Because I had mentioned John Waters movies to Sango here, and was like, yeah, they're fucking fantastically terrible. They're all designed, unlike people who make movies like The Room, which is supposed to be good, but was bad due to circumstance. John Waters movies are intentionally bad. they're bad in the sense of art. They're designed to be anti-art. Essentially, they're like a fucking Dadaist piece.
And that's why Divine is so radical. She's the anti-drag queen.
Exactly. The polar opposite of what would normally be, and that was done on purpose. So, everything about this movie is done over the top, just like a lot of his movies, and specifically done to be anti-art, the constant anti of what is the norm, which to a lot of people just means bad movie, but to those of us who really like that kind of stuff, this is magical.
It is beautiful.
He even dresses in anti-dress. I don't think either one of you have seen his stand-up thing he did at I forget which college that was, This Filthy World, where he talks about all his movies.
I know, I still need to see that.
It's great, but he wears this jacket that I want so badly. It's a tuxedo jacket, like your standard cut tuxedo jacket, except one of the tails is shorter than the other. It's covered in bright white piping along all the seams for no reason. And the inside is a dark gold and green paisley. It's hideous. It is one of the ugliest jackets I've ever seen, and I've never wanted it more. I love shit like that. It's hysterical, so I would wear that everywhere. So one of us is being really quiet. Sango, what'd you think of the movie? She's still a little out of it. It was a classic. I mean, the soundtrack. A lot of people don't know a lot about this movie, which is a shame because one, it's an amazing movie, but two, it's the history behind it is fucking great. So I've seen reviews of it where people who don't like it will say things like, you know, the soundtrack is so loud you can't hear the voices, and it's like, well, that's not true. The soundtrack overdubs a lot of it because it's being done on very basic editing equipment. It'd be like if I added sound to something. Usually, and I mean, you guys have watched my videos, you know that whenever I talk and I add sound to something, usually a voice cuts out and then another sound cuts in. I don't have layering systems. I mean, I might, but I'm not very good at it, so I don't do it. I just do that. Well, this was also 1972, so that was incredibly difficult. So essentially,
they had a very tiny budget.
Yeah, it was all done with
$200.
It was what?
It was like $200, I think they said.
Yeah. So, and they all knew each other. These are all people who knew each other, and they all work together constantly. They've known each other since they were kids, from what I can tell.
Yeah, Mink Stole was in every one of his movies.
Yes. Mink Stole is in. Is it Serial Mom or is it another one? There's another movie she's in where what's her name? Patty Hearst is in the movie too.
That's Serial Mom.
Yes, and there's this fantastic scene where they're getting mad at each other, and John Waters is like, this moment in my movie making career is what made my life complete, because Mink Stole, they're rehearsing in his living room, and I think the scene in the movie they're supposed to be on the phone with each other, and
oh yeah, that's Kathleen Turner.
Yeah, and he's like Kathleen Turner, and he's like, Patty Hearst was sitting next to him, and he's like, Kathleen Turner and Mink Stole are rehearsing their lines, and Mink Stole staring down Kathleen Turner and just goes, "You cocksucker!" And that's the fucking... He's like, that was the moment my life came together.
That scene had me in tears.
Oh, that is a fantastic scene. Cocksucker's residence! We're trying... I'm trying not to get too into the rest of the movies, because again, Sango hasn't seen the rest of them. Speaking of her, yeah, right there?
Anything?
Oh. Was it the ending that threw you?
Yeah.
No.
The ending is very shocking.
Oh, yeah. I don't... You know what? Spoilers. If you're watching this, you should know better. This is me reviewing a movie, and I'm here with my friends, so we're going to talk about everything. But we're not going to get to that just yet. We're going to go through the part with other fantastic lines. Pardon?
It's so famous at this point. I mean...
Yeah, everybody should know it, but if you don't know the movie, you may not. But there's such wonderful lines throughout the entire movie, like when the marbles have decided they're declaring their love for each other. My favorite one is when Mink Stole screams out, "I love you even more than my own shit!"
I love how over the top dramatic they are. It is great.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's so funny. And then when they send her a bowel movement.
Oh, another story about that. I was watching a good documentary to watch is Divine Trash, and they go really in depth of. That was actually Divine's bowel movement.
Yes, it was a real turd. It's not a prop. And one of my other favorite stories about that is John Waters told this story about how they showed that movie in this, I forget which theater it was, but it was like this old theater. So the theaters are kind of next to each other. And in the theater next door, they're playing Anna Karenina. And he's like, and in the most dramatic love scene in that movie, there's like this moment of silence where they're gazing into each other's eyes, and the theater next door is playing Pink Flamingos, and the audio is so loud that in the middle of them staring into each other's eyes in the background, you can hear Divine shout, "Someone has sent me a bowel movement!" It was like, according to the people who were in that theater, they just lost their minds. It was hysterical. Like, of all the things to interrupt the movie, that was the best thing that could. And we move from the birthday gift to the birthday party.
The birthday party.
Yeah, right there.
I think that's where I lost my mind.
Oh, the party was magical. First, it's
Connie
just
and
a party, and
Raymond
there's all.
to I was just saying, Connie and Raymond sneak up to the party and they're spying on them.
Oh yeah, and they're watching it. And the whole thing is just there's insanity, and there's just drunken, drug-taking nonsense, and then they get the police called on them because those assholes call the police. And, and the cops show up, and they all pile out of the trailer, and they kill the cops and eat them, as you do.
That's the part that killed me.
No, she's talking about the Papa Mau Mousy.
Yeah, the woman that dances with the snake, and then the contortionist that sings with his asshole.
Yeah, he makes his butthole sing. Papa Mau Mau, Papa Mau Mau Mau. There's a great story about that guy. He is he's not in the credits, the official credits of the movie.
No, he's not.
He wanted to be unlisted, and he told John Waters years later one of his favorite things to do is wait till that movie is in theaters, and he'll go to the theater when there's only a few people there, and he'll sit next to somebody, and when that scene starts up, you know, Papa Mau Mau, he'll lean over to the person next to him and nudge him and go, "That's me, you know." And I think that's my favorite part of that story. It's just like, oh God.
And he still wants to be anonymous because Divine Trash was in 1998, and he still they blacked out his face.
Yeah, he won't. He's. I guess it's one of the things he just didn't want people to know about, but it is really, really bizarre and funny. So, the singing asshole is what broke you, Sango.
That and the fucking chicken.
Oh, yes, the chicken fucking.
Oh, we didn't talk about that.
No, we missed the chicken fucking. Yes, the Marbles hire a spy to sleep with Crackers to get information out of everybody. And...
Crackers has this weird fetish where he likes to crush chicken.
While fucking. So there's chicken fucking. And
Cotton watching.
Oh yeah, and Cotton's a voyeur, so she's watching. And I think my favorite part is when they're having the conversation before that starts, and he makes and he's talking about all the things he's gonna do, and he says something about "I'd do it for you, Cotton." And he touches her on the shoulder, and she's like, "Oh, don't! You mustn't." And he's like, "I ain't touching you. I ain't touching."
Oh Lord.
It's just that reaction got me. I wasn't expecting him to be so defensive. Just be like, "I do all these things for you. I ain't fucking touching you, though."
And what's great is Pink Flamingos was one of his first movies with dialogue.
Yeah. There's a lot of...
had like Mondo Trasho and stuff like that. There wasn't a whole lot of dialogue in it.
No, because recording dialogue was really hard. And he's been on record as saying, like, the reason a lot of the budgets for a lot of these movies got so low is because they would buy equipment from, like, colleges that were throwing out film equipment, and they just have it secondhand. And, excuse me a second. Damn.
Bless you.
Thank you. So he's like, we owned most of the equipment, so like shotgun mics and all this other stuff that showed up. And it's like, yeah, it was in the garage, so we just had it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can understand that. You just kind of have to have what you can have and do what you can do with what you got. But holy shit, some of the stuff that movie came out with was so fucking great.
Great.
Oh, there's all kinds of another reason, or a lot of reasons about movies like his very early movies, not so much the later stuff, was very underground. And then when it started catching fame, it was not shown in a lot of places, because if you go through the credits near the end of the movie, there's a lot of things that you don't see, like in a lot of movies like this, and it's like, oh, the American Humane Society weighs in on this, and this one does this, and those aren't there. Because they killed those chickens, and then they ate them.
Yeah.
That's a real story.
My favorite is on Divine Trash. Whenever they talk to the fucking censor woman.
Oh yes.
She was losing her shit over the movie. Like, oh my god, it was so funny.
The stories about
when she's all this prim and proper.
Oh yeah.
Proper.
You
can't do that.
The stories about what happened with the censor board, I think it was Pink Flamingos, where John Waters said, like, we sent a print to a review board in Canada, and then we never heard back from them. And we sent them a message, and we never heard back from them again. And finally we got in touch with them, and they sent us a form that just said destroyed. So all I could figure is they watched the movie, and they were just like, burn this. Oh, that's probably one of my favorite things. And he's like, in Japan, they you can show pretty much anything in most theaters, but you can't show pubic hair. So there would always be, like, in the middle of every scene, there'd be like a little ball that comes down and hovers over the pubic hair. And he's just like, I thought there was something wrong with the film at first, but then I realized, like, that's their censor. And it's like, I think that makes it better. It's just like, follow the bouncing ball.
Oh my god.
And I didn't know until later that he was the one who invented the Odorama card.
Polyester was done in Odorama.
And that was the first time any Odorama was ever done. And he was like, we had to do a bunch of things, go through a whole bunch of hoops. Like, one, it had to be edible. It was just, I don't know why you would want to eat an Odorama card. And I don't know a lot of people who go to 3D movies and then watch the movie and they take off their glasses and go, these look tasty. It's like, it's not food, but okay. It's like, so yeah, you can eat an Odorama card. It's safe. And he's like, but the one thing I did learn with polyester is, like, and we showed that in theaters around the world, that it doesn't matter your race, your religion, your government. He's like, I watched capitalist, communist, didn't matter. Everybody paid me $8 to smell a fart. He said, I remember being in China for this movie's premiere, and it was just like number 3. And there's little Chinese people in the audience going, everybody does it. Everybody does it.
Oh, that was another good movie.
Oh.
I seen that one for the first time last weekend.
Those are good, and I'm afraid to... Again, Sango's been very quiet. I'm kind of scared to expose her to too many of these movies. You alright?
I'm breathing.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah. The rest of his movies aren't like that.
No.
They're crazy, they're not gross.
You think you're gonna burn down my trailer?
Oh yes, the trailer fire. Oh god, yes. They set the trailer on fire. The marbles, those assholes, set the trailer on fire. And...
Oh, I just love the smell of gasoline, Raymond.
It was so great. Because all the behind-the-scenes stuff about that scene is hysterical. They set the trailer on fire. Like, it was supposed to burn for, like, an hour, but it burned for, like, 5, which nobody saw coming. So, like, as the scene progresses, you can see the daylight shifting in the background. And John Waters has said, like, we recorded this thing, we had the mics, and we had all this stuff set up, so I was like, we'll record the trailer fire. And he's like, then we played it back, and there was no sound, the microphones didn't pick up the fucking fire.
So when you watch the movie, it just sounds like crinkling paper.
Yes, it is someone in the background crinkling paper over a microphone to make it sound like fire. It's like, oh, son of a bitch, I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, I love it.
Oh. So these movies are inspirations of indie films. So they burn the trailer down, and that's when the filthiest people alive get really pissed, and they go after the marbles, and they find them, and they drag them out of their house.
Before they lick everything in the entire house.
Oh god, yes, they lick everything in the house, and then the house rejects them. Like the marbles come home, and they're in their house, and every piece of furniture they sit on like flops up and throws them off. And there's another story about that too. So like that scene only does like the chair and the sofa move, and it's like what was it? John Waters said like years later, people were like, "Those are amazing special effects for only having $200. How did you do that?" And he's like, "Well, there are people in the sofa." There's just like a really skinny guy in the sofa who pushed it up and down. It's like, that's probably not illegal by today's standards, but hey, it worked. So the house rejects them, and then they get taken away, and they get brought to be put on trial. And the news media shows up, they call a press conference, and that's when Divine has some of the best lines ever.
That's my favorite part of the whole movie.
Oh yes, when she goes into like her explanation of everything. It's like, what are your views on politics? Kill everyone now.
Eat shit.
Yes, eat shit. Oh, it's so fucking funny.
I love it.
And then they tie the marbles to a tree, they tar and feather them, and then they shoot them. Because, that's what you do. And
Devon utters my favorite line. Connie Marble, you stand convicted of assholism.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Assholism.
And then the ending happened.
Oh, yes. They decided to move to Boise, but on the way to moving to Boise, the infamous scene that made this movie so infamous throughout the film community that if you know it, you know it, and if you don't, you don't. There was a scene at the end of the movie where, and again, if you haven't seen it, spoiler, but Divine eats dog shit. And no, it's not a prop.
There's a great story behind that, too.
Oh, yeah. You can... No, tell it. Tell the story.
I was watching Divine Trash, and they said they had to follow that dog around for 3 hours before it shit. They could not get the dog to shit.
Divine has been in some interesting predicaments thanks to John Waters' career, and I think one of the other ones was what movie was it? Was it Polyester, where she's in the pig pen?
Who?
Divine.
No, that's Female Trouble.
Yes, where she's crawling through the pig pen. I couldn't remember which one it was, but she's crawling through a pig pen and has huh?
When she's licking the fish.
Yeah, so she has a vision of the Virgin Mary, and in the background of this scene, the pigs just start fucking. And one, like John Waters said, that was how she got the nickname the Hog Princess, because apparently she just made pigs horny. Nobody knew that was a thing until that happened. And he's like, a lot of people are like, well, where did you find locations? And they're like, well, back in the day, we just drove around till we found places. And I assume that the people who own this farm and these pigs were okay with us shooting there, because we saw smoke coming out of the chimney and lights on the windows, but they never came out of their house, and we were there for 5 hours. So all I could figure is the little farm couple looked out their window and went, "There's some hippies and a drag queen out there, and they're in the pig pen. My God, they're on PCP. Lock all the doors, Harold." And of course, the other half of that was a thing that he said too. It's just like, in those early days, whenever somebody watches our early movies, and they're like, "My God, you people must have been on drugs." And I'm like, well, yeah.
They were on a lot of drugs.
Oh yeah, that inspired a lot of the movies. It was just drug abuse and insanity, and it was really funny.
And sadly, that's why half the actors died before the fourth movie.
Yeah, oh yeah. There was some hardcore stuff, but there are some other movies, and Sango, I promise we won't watch anything nearly as hardcore.
No.
Do you,
I was just going to say, Female Trouble has to be my absolute favorite.
Do you want to tell people why we watched Pink Flamingos tonight?
You want me to tell them why we watched the regrettable way of watching Pink Flamingos?
Why we decided to, if you want to, you want me to tell the story, or do you want to?
Okay. Well... I'd have to say we were originally going to watch Serial Mom.
Yes, we were.
But you have to start with Pink Flamingos.
But then they called Moonhorse a wimp and said we should watch Pink Flamingos. Because they figured it shouldn't be that bad. Oh, was I wrong?
Oh. I'd hug you if I could. You jumped into the deep end, and God bless it, you definitely tried. You came out on the other side a fucking warrior, and I'm proud of you. This is one of those movies, kids. I watch a lot of bad movies. Some of them intentionally bad, some of them not. Some of them classics, and some of them... Well, I mean, if you followed this channel, you read my review of that movie, Life, and that was... That movie was interesting. That was the only horror movie I've ever seen that could have been solved with a Snickers bar. So, that's a fun story.
It's like taking... filthy stuff.
Yeah, it's some filthy stuff. But you muscled up to it. And did I get thrown out of the call? I believe I did. So yeah, we were talking about... I should probably address that. I told you guys I'm editing that out. Discord went stupid and shit the bed, so I had to edit a bunch of shit out because the audio was terrible, and it turned off and then turned back on. Big fucking shock. FYI, I have AT&T internet, so I know you're all so surprised as why it's so terrible. Hopefully that'll be fixed soon. But, it is what it is. So, I do have to say, the two of us here...
Thing is, do I regret seeing this movie? I don't think I do, because I actually did like the cinematography.
See, that's what I'm saying. The two of us here are veterans of terrible movies, and you jumped in. Oh, yeah. You jumped in fearless, and I am fucking proud of you. I've never been more proud of someone in my life. Holy shit. This goes places. See, this was intentionally bad. That's the fun part.
I just love it, though, because I remember y'all had only watched like 2 seconds of it, and she said, "This is cute."
Yeah. And I will be honest, of the John Waters movies and of this bad movie crowd, I will be completely honest, out of the three of us here, I'm responsible for infecting both of you, and I hope you appreciate that.
Divine is my hero.
Yeah. I do specifically remember being much younger, and seeing movies like this and seeing John Waters movies, and then years later talking to Bubs and being like, "Do you know who John Waters is?"
Well, yeah, actually, I had seen Serial Mom, I think, before we met. And
yeah.
When you told me about John Waters, and I'm like, wait, he did that movie Serial Mom, and I'm like, and then you told me about the beginning, and that's when the love affair just grew.
Oh, Serial Mom, much like, and for those of you who don't know, and this is a big shock, if you've ever seen the movie Hairspray, that's a John Waters movie too.
That's his cleanest movie ever.
Yes, it is. And it was shocking because it was like, this movie got a G? Wow, okay. Because John Waters... Huh?
Hairspray?
Say again?
I like Hairspray.
He did make that movie, and it's really good.
He made the 1988 version.
Yes.
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about.
So he did really good at that, and really, it was the movies like that I've seen where he's shocked about the ratings he got. Hairspray is really good. When it comes to movies set in the 50s that are supposed to be musicals, honestly, I like Hairspray a lot more than I like Grease. Hairspray all the way. So, I also watched his other movie, the ones that got, like, some of the worst ratings, but were major theatrical releases, which was, A Dirty Shame, which they gave, like, an X, wasn't it? Like an X or a 2X?
That was a great movie.
That movie did not deserve the rating the shitty ratings board gave it.
No.
They threw all this stuff and they were like, it's an X-rated or 2X-rated movie, I can't remember. It's like, it wasn't violent.
No.
And all the sexual stuff was innuendo at best. They didn't show anything.
Yeah, it wasn't nearly like Pink Flamingos.
No, and for those of you who are young enough to know this, what was his name? He was with the Jackass crew.
God, I don't remember.
Oh, the cute one with the black hair.
Yeah, I know, he was the only good-looking one.
It's not Steve-O. It was,
I don't remember.
Are you talking about the crew from Jackass, the movie?
Yeah. What was his name?
I can't remember his name, but I can look it up.
Yeah, he was in A Dirty Shame, and he has black hair. Shit. Oh, he was a good-looking kid too.
He was the good-looking one though.
He honestly was, yeah. Oh fuck, I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he was really great in that movie. He was really funny.
Yes.
He was hysterical and just over the top, and that's what made him fucking great. He was like a crazy perverted Elvis.
Tracy Ullman was good in that too.
Yes, I forgot she was in that, but that was so good.
Johnny Knoxville.
That's him. Yes. Johnny Knoxville. And I don't know why they gave that movie an X. I mean, there was nothing really that bad.
No, it was not that
The worst was, what's her name's giant fake tits, but you can tell they were made of plastic.
Yeah.
It was like, oh god, So it's like, give it an R rating. I mean, for fuck's sake. And I guess that was one of their argumentative points, where they were just like, well, she has giant fake boobs. That's offensive to the family. And it's like, well, don't bring your fucking 10-year-old to see this movie in the first place. What the hell's wrong with you?
Exactly.
I was like, are you crazy? Don't do that.
One of my favorite aspects about that movie, though, was like how like you had like this ultra sensitive family crowd, and then you had the overly sexual crowd.
Yes. And honestly, John Waters said, I forget the lady who ran the ultra sensitive crowd, and you could tell by her delivery and stuff. He's like, yes. He's like, we also really wanted B. Arthur to be in the movie, but she wouldn't do it.
That would have been great.
Oh my god, I would have died. That would have been so fucking funny.
Yeah, because The Dirty Shame came out in 2004, and she didn't die until 2009.
Yeah, she turned the movie down. She was just like, I'm not going to do that. And it's like, damn it.
That would have been magic.
Johnny Knoxville actually did Leonardo's voice.
In which? The newer Ninja Turtle things?
The teenage... Mm-hmm.
Oh. Huh, that's cool. I'm glad he still has work.
Huh.
He's a good actor.
Leonardo in the first TMNT movie when they did the first one.
Oh, cool.
He's a good actor.
He's doing other movies.
I'm glad he kept going. He's actually very talented. I like him.
Yeah, because he was really good in A Dirty Shame.
Yeah, he's a really talented kid. I'm glad
he made a documentary too.
When it comes to the Jackass crew, there's some interesting documentaries about them.
The documentary that he's in is called "Dumb: The Story of Big Brother Magazine" as himself.
Okay.
Came out last year.
So, A Dirty Shame, which is another one we're going to have to watch one day. Is essentially a comedic version of making fun of over-sexuality.
Yes.
It's like a joke. It really is. There are people who take it way too seriously, but it's really funny.
Oh, God, yes.
Honestly, I think you'll like it, Sango. It's really, really funny. It's just silly and over the top.
It's kind of bittersweet, though, because that's the last movie John Waters made.
Yeah, it is. It's his last movie.
He was in King of the Hill.
Oh, yeah. There's a...
Sorry.
It's all right. There's a bunch of really funny lines in that movie and really insane things that are just over the top. I think my favorite is when they introduced the Bear family.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, and in the background, what's that? The Yogi the Bear song starts playing. Is Yogi the Bear, Yogi the Bear, and it's like these three big fat hairy gay men, and just like I'm Papa Bear, and they're like way over the top, and it's hysterical.
Oh, I love it.
It's like they might as well be made out of fucking plastic. They're so see through, but it's hysterical.
It's such a shame that Divine died because she would have been hysterical.
Oh my God, yes, she would have been so funny in that movie.
Oh, how'd she die?
Heart.
Yeah.
Ouch.
She will be missed. She was a treasure.
She died right after Hairspray.
Yeah.
Ouch.
There was there's a story John Waters said, like, immediately after, not immediately, but he's like, not too long after. He says it's kind of a catharsis that kind of brought him joy a little bit after. He's like, we decided to, because I think it was him and Mink Stoll decided to visit her grave, and someone had written on it in red paint, Satan. And he's like, and I was upset. Yeah, he's like, I was upset at first. And he said, Mink Stoll, ever the fucking wonderful woman she is, just went, calm down. They just spelled satin wrong. It's like, it's really funny.
And Mink Stoll, speaking of Mink Stoll, like, I was looking up the themes, the soundtrack to Female Trouble, and she did a cover version of it.
Oh, nice.
And
That's
she
awesome.
is a really good singer.
That is awesome. Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
Expecting that.
So this was our first movie night with Moonhorse and Friends. I'm going to have to make a new show. We're going to have to, like, create a segment. I'm just going to throw this into something else for now, but if this becomes a thing, we might be watching movies together and talking about them because, you know, what the fuck else we got to do with our time?
Awesome.
I got no life. I'm here.
Me neither.
So what did you think of the movie, Sango, as the first timer of a John Waters movie? How did you enjoy it?
I'm still letting it sink in.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have to say that I don't, for sure. I did like the cinematography. I did like the fact that he narrated the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
beautiful.
I did love how over the top Divine was.
Oh yeah,
yes.
I think that's the only thing that kept me going is just her.
Oh, Divine is amazing.
Oh yeah.
I will say, without spoiling too much of the next movie we're going to have to watch, which is Female Trouble, one of my favorite lines in that movie is when she gets mad at her parent. She's supposed to be like a teenager.
Oh.
Yeah, and they don't get her cha-cha heels, which is what she wanted. And just like, I wanted some fucking cha-cha heels! Just like screaming at her.
I love it. I love it.
You can eat shit!
Female Trouble is my absolute favorite John Waters movie.
Well, you're definitely going to have to be involved when we watch that.
Yeah, I love Female Trouble.
So we're going to try to go back and forth, I think, with some of these movies, where we're going to watch good movies like this, and then really bad ones, because I also have collections of really bad movies. I love terrible films.
Those are fun, too.
Yes. Oh, God, yes. I didn't discover the joy of watching terrible movies for just the fact that they're terrible until years later. And then, I will say this kind of metamorphosis that changed me was I went back and watched all of the, okay, so first off, I didn't think bad movies were funny. And then I learned they truly are. They can be hysterical. So then I went back and watched, and this is true, every single Twilight movie. I have never laughed harder. Those movies are fucking golden. So anybody, and I mean this honestly, anybody who's ever like, those movies should have never been made, you bite your fucking tongue. Those movies are fucking glorious in how terrible they are. They're beautiful and I love them.
It's the same with those 50 Shades movies.
Yes. They're absolutely terrible, but that's what makes them great, and I just want to hug the entire cast. It's just like, you tried. You did.
The Saw franchise, too.
Yes.
I only seen the first 3.
The first one wasn't bad. The commentary on the first one was hysterical. Honestly.
The second one...
Yes.
I don't know why, but out of the Saw movies I saw, I think the second one was actually really good. And I'm not talking about torture. I'm talking about the fact that Jigsaw in the second movie was actually hysterical this time, instead of just plain serious.
Yeah.
Because I just love the part where he's like, well, I can keep your son safe. That was great. It's just like,
The second movie was when it became a game.
Yeah, the second movie also was made by most of the same people who made the first one. So the commentary on that is really funny. It's about the third one, it's like the commentary is just like, he made these elaborate traps, and it's really serious, not as funny.
The third one had to do with, the only part that I found serious in the third one is when Jigsaw was dying.
Yeah.
And they were like, we need to get a doctor to get this brain fix and blah, blah, blah. And then when I get to the part with the torture devices, it's more the guy chooses who lives and dies that were a part of his life.
Yeah.
Which, I didn't mind that for some reason, because it reminded me of a video game.
You do, if you've never seen the commentary on the first 2 movies, it is, I totally recommend it. It's really funny.
It's really good.
Yeah, the photographer in the first movie is actually one of the 2 guys who wrote it. And he's Australian, and they were he tells this great story about, the whole opening shot where it was all shot with him in the bathtub. And he's like, so I'm looking at my friend, and he's like, we're gonna lay you back in the bathtub, and we're gonna make this shot. And he's like, you're gonna CGI in all, the slow motion and stuff, right? And his buddy just looks at him and goes, and starts pushing him into the tub. And he's like, oh, you fucking asshole! He's like, so they slow-moed that whole scene. He's like, we had to shoot the wake-up scene twice, because the first time I came out of the water, I completely lost character, because I've been underwater for 2 minutes, and I come out of the water and just go, Jesus fucking Christ! And they're like, shoot again, shoot again, shoot again! My favorite story from the second one, though, is when the cop cars show up to the building, it's all shot in, fast motion, and they're like, the reason we did that is because the SWAT van wouldn't go over 25. And they're like, we got drivers jamming this thing, trying to get it to go, and it refused to go over 25. So I'm like, all right, well, shoot it like this, and we'll run it in fast motion and play it like an art thing. And it's like, okay, cool. He's like, so we did that, and then we had to return the van. He said the cops show up, because it is an actual SWAT van. He said the police show up, and he said the SWAT guy gets in the van, and he looks at the fucking steering column, and he looks back at me, and he goes, well, you got the parking brake on. And he's like, we don't? And he's like, have you had it on the whole time? It's like, I think. And he's like, yeah, this thing will do 120. I don't know why you have the parking brake on. So now when you watch the second Saw movie, remember that scene where the cops show up and it's all in fast motion. Remember, it's not just art, it's also divine incompetence. Which is really funny.
It's so true.
I love shit like that. It's hysterical. It's just like, oh, fuck, right. Yeah, we screwed up. Oops.
The only reason why I've seen all those damn movies is because one of my friends drugged me there to see them. But thankfully, serious fan of them. We just went to see them just because of how bad they were.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
I got the luck stroke of only seeing the first 3.
Yeah, the first 2 aren't bad. I don't really remember the third one that much, but it's been a long time.
Jigsaw was dying. Amanda was his apprentice. She got killed.
I think
it was so funny seeing the reactions of people in the movie theater because me and we were dying laughing, and people were looking at us like we were insane.
Oh, my favorite!
Oh, I'm sure.
My favorite movie thing, reactions in movie theaters. I have 2 great stories about that. So, the first one was I went to see the Silent Hill movie.
Oh gosh!
And the scene where Pyramid Head catches that woman and he rips off her skin. And they run through the church doors and he throws out the door and blood hits what's her name, Cheryl, in the face. I can't remember her name. That actress, I can't remember her name, but yeah, it's like the blood hits her and the doors close, and there's like this moment of silence to let that whole scene sink in, and that happens, and some guy in the back of the theater just goes, "Damn!" And the whole fucking theater started laughing. It's like, son of a bitch. My other favorite one was okay, so there's 2 more. These happened with my brother. We went to see
oh, I know this one.
Yeah, the second Transformers movie. And this isn't really a big thing, and it's not about plot, but there's like a part where they run into this guy, and he's like, I have this secret, and I'm going to tell you the secret. Are you ready for the secret? And as soon as he says that, the scene's supposed to change, but as the scene was changing, the fucking power went out. It was like, and it was great, because like it went off, but the emergency lights didn't kick on yet, and it was so quiet. And I lean over to my brother as the lights are starting, the emergency lights are coming on, and I was like, damn, this secret is so good, he killed the whole fucking movie. It's like, my other favorite one was what was that fucking movie with, what's his name? Stone Cold Steve Austin, where they're on the island, and he's supposed to, like, it's essentially Hitman the movie or something like that, where it's like, you gotta kill the bad guys, and they all kill each other, and then one of them wins, and that's how they get their freedom. Manhunt.
Are you talking about Hunger Games?
It's pretty much the same premise, but this one had Steve Austin in it. Never mind. So there's this scene in the movie where eventually he gets a shotgun, and then he shoots at the bad guy, but the bass level of the shotgun going off was so loud that it blew out half the speakers. So all we could hear was the music and the sound effects, but no voices whatsoever.
Wow.
And it was great, because I just couldn't help myself at that point. After that happened, I just went, he killed the dialogue! And the whole fucking theater started laughing. It's like, shit, that was the 2 times we got vouchers at that theater. That theater always had some kind of problem, but it was always funny. So yeah, I mean, I haven't been to the movies in so long, I really need to go to another movie, but the last one we went to... What was the last movie I went to? It's been a while since I've been to the movie theater. I'm trying to think of the last one I went to. It was something stupid.
The last movie I saw was Dunkirk, which was actually pretty good.
I need to see that.
Last movie I saw in theaters was Stephen King's brand new movie, It.
I did get to see that, but I wasn't in theaters.
I want to see that too.
Finn Wolfhard's my favorite part of that movie.
It's really good.
Oh, yeah, it is. Damn. Fucking allergies.
Bless you.
Sorry about that. Allergies are killing me lately.
I can't remember, because you told me what you saw in theaters.
Yeah, what the fuck was it?
And you said it was, like, hysterical.
I remember I saw, this is the thing about the theater experience, which always gets me, is why I always do, whenever I talk about movies, I always have to wait a little while after I've seen the movie, unless it's one I've seen before, to talk about it, because, like, I saw, the first, what's that movie, where they're like, crime is legal. What the fuck is the name of that movie?
Crime is Legal?
Yeah.
That's The Purge.
Yes, I saw the first Purge movie in theaters. And when I got out of the theater, I was just like, it was okay. It was good, but that's because I was in a movie theater, and I was like, this is exciting. I'm in a movie theater. And it wasn't until I got home later that night, and I was like, wait a minute, that movie wasn't any good. What the fuck am I talking about? The second movie was actually pretty good. The second movie went places that, like, the first one apparently just wasn't going to. They were just like, home invasion movie, but then, like, the second Purge movie actually went somewhere where it's like, this guy wants to kill some guy who's responsible for his son's death, and then they kind of inadvertently get involved in the middle of a class war because murder is illegal, and it's like the poor are now going to kill the rich because the rich have been killing the poor for so long. It's like, holy shit, I can get behind this movie. Hell yeah!
I love it.
Fucking revolution! I'm down with this shit. Yeah. So, okay, I get it, but like, I don't know. The second one was pretty good. I haven't seen the others after that. I think there's like 2 more now, but I haven't seen them yet.
Is there?
I think there's one that's supposed to be like immediately after, where they try to explain a lot of the shit that the first one just didn't. And the first one alluded to a lot of stuff that was interesting, and then just never went into it. They're just like, yeah, the new founding fathers and our new government. Like, oh, cool. What's that about? We're not going to tell you. Man, what the fuck? What the fuck you talking? What? No. It's like, yeah, and then poor people are the ones who suffer the worst during all this. It's like, oh, so we're going to hear about poor people and like what happens to them? Now we're going to follow these white people in their house and their big security system in the suburbs. Man, what the fuck? What? Come on. What the fuck is this shit? It's like, oh, they help one poor guy, and then like these kids in creepy masks want to break in, and somehow they have trucks and shit. Well, how do they get the trucks? They just have them. Man, fuck this movie. Come on, y'all didn't explain shit. Now I'm getting mad. I do have
I was gonna say my worst theater experience was probably 2012.
Oh, that movie.
I didn't bother seeing that.
That movie was. If you want to see computers kill each other, that's pretty much the movie to watch because everything was CG in that movie.
No dialogue.
Yeah.
And the little dialogue they had was horrible.
Yeah, it was laughably stupid.
3 goddamn hours long.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't count the Transformers movies as my worst experience, movie experience that I saw in theaters, I would have to say the one movie that really killed my experience in theaters was the movie Splice.
I haven't seen that.
I didn't see that either.
I basically almost puked.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Splice is the one about the guy who makes the human hybrid thing, right? I think.
Yeah, that's the reason I wanted to puke.
So essentially, it's just a remake of the Species movies.
Okay, so I will describe this in a small detail without spoiling too much. So the couple wanted to make... So they basically have experimented on life and everything by connecting certain DNA genes together without having to, do the birthing process. Because they wanted to find a way where you could do it without, the pregnancy and all that kind of bullcrap because it's expensive. So, and you find out that the couple can't really have, has a hard time having kids. So they went through this experiment, and what happens is that they created this life form.
They made a monster.
And it looks human. And the problem that they found out, and they didn't find this out until after 2 of their species that they created killed each other, is that it has a specific gene that can change your gender.
Okay.
And the other problem that I had with it's understandable because it's kind of what happened in Jurassic Park. The only problem I had with it is that the Splice human that they made not only starts having infatuations and sexual tensions towards the protagonist male.
Yeesh.
Hint, hint, hint.
Weird incest porn.
When it's not. It's very graphic. It's like rated R graphic. Basically, that happens. The woman gets mad, and then it gets to the point almost near the end of the movie where her husband gets killed. The Thing changes gender and rapes her.
Oh, lovely.
Dear Lord.
Yeah.
It basically, I almost puked in the theater.
It kind of sounds like the Species movies, which were... The Species movies have one of my favorite stupid scenes ever. They're not very big budget. The first one, I guess, had a pretty good budget, but then the ones after are really bad. And it's about, like, alien DNA is in these humans, and it creates these weird hybrids, and they're just trying to, like, reproduce. But it creates my favorite moment ever, which is really stupid, but it's really funny, where, like, this guy who's, like, an astronaut is now infected with this alien, and then, like, he makes it back to Earth, and the quarantine's over, and he's with this woman, and they're, like, having sex, but the camera is, like, as if from her POV, so it's, like, up facing him, and then suddenly there's, like, tentacles coming out from behind him, but my favorite is he's making this face where his eyes are rolled back, and he's just going, oh, and there's, like, tentacles for no reason. And it was the funniest goddamn thing.
What movie was that?
Species. It was just like, what the fuck am I watching right now?
I want to see that now.
Like, the funny thing is that Splice had nothing to do with, like, combining human DNA with, like, a alien foreign DNA. It was more like they were combining human DNA with other forms of animal DNA.
Yeah. So
to create the species, to create this thing, and they were trying to figure out a way of not a medical purpose, but a way to create life without having to do pregnancies, because, you know, pregnancies over the years have had, like, miscarriages and all this stuff.
Oh, shit.
And all the risks that comes with pregnancies.
Speaking of that, I thought of a movie that we're going to have to watch, so I'm going to have to put that on the list.
Huh?
I was okay. Have either of you seen the movie Children of Men?
What?
Wait, what?
It's a movie called Children of Men.
I heard of it, but I never seen it.
Oh, it's
Children of Men?
Yes, it's so good. It is insane. It is a crazy ride, but it is so good.
I actually have to see what it looks like.
I don't want to spoil anything, because every inch of this movie is really wild, and it's totally worth watching. So I think we're going to have to put that on the list of, like, maybe we can alternate. Maybe we can go from good movie to bad movie and back again.
Yeah.
That's going to have to be on the good movie list, because I think you're both going to love it, because it's really, really wild. It's very emotional.
We watched a really good movie.
That's true. I'm going to have to find a bad movie.
Even though I went through it bravely.
You did, and I'm proud of you. We might have to watch Life, because that movie got my dander up in a way that I have not been able to describe before.
Oh.
When you see it, it's like, what the fuck? Like, every one of the confrontations in this movie could have been solved by humans stop being a dick. That's pretty much all they needed to do. Humans, stop being a dick.
Is that the one where they find the alien life form?
Yes, it's a little alien life form, and they rip off a bunch of shit from Gravity, because this movie came out after Gravity, and Gravity made a shitload of money, so they're like, we can do that too, except it doesn't, work, and it's dumb.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they find a little alien life form, and he's, like, reproducing. He was found on Mars, and he's becoming, like, a multicellular being. He's going from, like, a one cell to, like, a multicellular thing. And then, like, the air gets out of the pod, and the guy's like, I'm going to hit him with the zappy stick. And they're like, no, he came back to life if you gave him oxygen. Just, give him oxygen and wait. And he's like, nah, I got a zappy stick. And I was like, don't. Fuck it, what? No, don't. So then he zaps him.
Zappy stick, and...
Yeah, and the alien gets mad, and it breaks the guy's hand, because he was like, what the fuck are you doing with the cattle prod? Stop it. I was taking him down, you dick. And they're like, oh, he broke his hand. We're going to have to kill it. And little alien, whose name is Calvin, which I think is a great name for a tiny alien who's like, you guys need to leave me the fuck alone. Then he gets mad, and he's just like, well, I'm going to fucking leave, because you guys suck. And But no, then Ryan Reynolds shows up because he's in this movie, and he has a flamethrower on the International Space Station because, you know, of course
We
you
are
have
talking about Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean, of course you have flamethrowers in the International Space Station, and the only reason I can find a reason behind, like, the movements behind the alien and Ryan Reynolds right here is that the alien was just like, is that fucking Deadpool? That's fucking Deadpool. Shit, bro, what's up? Oh, you got a flamethrower. What the fuck? And, like, it gets really weird from there, and then he gets into the thing, like, the fire prevention system, which wouldn't have gone off if Deadpool wouldn't have set the capsule on fire, but, you know, Deadpool. And they're like, oh, we got in this thing, so now we can get to the rest of the station. It's like, wait, so you're telling me the special biological containment lab is connected to the rest of the station with, like, air and water. So I guess that means it's not a biological containment lab now, is it? You fucked up. I thought you guys were NASA. I thought you were good at this shit. So...
We are talking about a bad movie.
Yeah, so yeah, he gets loose and, like, shit happens, and for some reason he turns into, like, a little manta ray looking thing that floats around on zero G, and I've said this before, the only thing in that movie that I like is Calvin, because 90% of his actions are just like, well, I'm fucking hungry, and you guys didn't give me food, and then you tried to kill me in space, and I hate you all, so I just want to get out of here, and... Yeah, that's like 90% of the fucking interaction. And if somebody out there was ever like, I made a little, like, plush figure of Calvin, he just looks like a little space flap. And it's like, I want that, and I will keep that in my room because he's adorable.
I think that'd be the only reason I would watch it is because I want to see what the alien is like.
He's cute. I mean, everybody else is like, he's a scary monster. It's like, no, he's fucking adorable. He looks like a little manta ray with a little flappy face, and he's just like, me. And it's just like, oh, I'd hug it. I would hug him.
Now I need to look him up.
Yeah, the movie ends stupid, where it's just like, and then he's on Earth, and now Earth is ruined, except that I totally kind of want to think that this movie ends with these Chinese fishermen who find him, and then give him a candy bar, and then they go on, like, adventures, like Scooby-Doo adventures, where they solve mysteries and have awesome parties. But I know that's not how the movie wants it to end, but the movie sucks, so my ending's better, and I think I like that more. So... Yeah, I mean, I wrote a whole review about this movie, so I spoiled it in advance, and it's a terrible movie. I don't know if I still have it. I'm going to have to look through my collection of movies. So, yeah, well, I'll find some movies for us to watch, because I have a whole bunch. Lord knows I do. That's one of my things before I started making videos and doing stuff, is I watched a shitload of movies and TV shows, and there's a lot of things that, like, when it comes to that, work really good, and some things that don't. For example, I recently rewatched a bunch of shows from when we were all much, much younger, and I can safely say what's really weird is having rewatched what was it? I forget what year it was, but it was the one of the earliest Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons. The only thing that doesn't hold up is Sonic the Hedgehog. He's annoying as shit. Everybody else is fine. It's honestly true. The show's great when he's not in it. The rest of it's fine. Still works. You can still watch it and be like, yeah, I can believe this is on TV now. So that's just kind of really funny. It's like the worst part of this show is your main character because of studio involvement. Did you guys learn something? So yeah, there's some other movies I think we're going to watch. I'm going to add Life to the thing. Children of Men is like another one we're definitely going to have to watch. It's one of those movies that we'll do an intro about, like, we need to watch this movie, and when we come back to the end, we'll all be crying because it's a really sad movie. But it's so good. Oh my god, it's so good. I can say the same thing about, what do you call it, Interstellar. Interstellar gets me every time.
That's a movie I want to see.
Oh my god, you have to.
I can't watch that again. I cried.
I did too. It gets me every time. It's so sad, but
I
it's so
watched
beautiful.
it with you, remember?
I do.
God, that's like that movie, Prayers for Bobby. I can't watch that again.
There's another one there's some of those that are like, it's going to be like catharsis movie nights we're going to have to watch where it's just like, this is so sad but beautiful. The Road is one of those.
Yes, The Road is good.
The Road pulls my heart out every time. It's just like, this movie can't be this good. The Time Traveler's Wife is another good one. I don't know if either one of you have seen that.
No. I heard of it, but I never seen it.
It's good. It's very, very good. We're gonna have to watch that. I'm gonna make a list. I'll figure it out. We'll do something. But this is going on for a while, and I still have to edit a bunch of shit, so I'm gonna cut this off. But so at the end of this, going way back to where we started, Pink Flamingos was a fucking great movie, and we all enjoyed it. And I'm super proud of Sango for getting with us to go through our weird art phase, because we love some weird art movies. See, that was my favorite thing about watching some other people do movie reviews, like when, what's his name? Cinema Snob, Doug watched, with a couple of other people, watched Moulin Rouge and was like, this movie is weird and it's flamboyant and over the top, and the only thing I could think is, oh, honey, you don't even know. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, yeah.
You ain't seen nothing.
That doesn't even scratch the surface.
It's true.
There's another movie we need to see. I'm gonna see if I can find it and get a copy of it. Is Tokyo Grandfathers? No, Tokyo Godfather. And it's a movie about, let's see, a homeless man, an artist, and a drag queen find a baby, and they take care of the baby. It's a really beautiful movie. It's got like a great ending, but they're taking care of this child they found. But I haven't seen it in forever, but it's really, really good. So we're gonna have to look that one up too. I'm gonna make a list somewhere. I'm gonna make a list. But also on that note, if you people out there want us to watch some movies, we'll do that too, because we love you.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely take requests.
Yeah, we love movies. That's the thing. There are some that I'm going to figure out when and where we're going to watch them, because they're going to be little bits of surprises. But as much as I am going to do this, I also I hate to subject you two to this, but you're watching these movies with me.
Oh, I don't care.
I'm alright with that.
So I'm not giving you an option. This is happening. Shit's going to get weird, and it's going to be awesome. So I'm trying to think of some others that we'll do, but we won't spoil any more. So, Pink Flamingos was amazing. We'll watch more John Waters movies another day. But on that note, I need to end this because I need to edit and stop all this. But this was fun, and we'll do it again soon, and we love you all.
Yep.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.